Is time relative in the fashion industry? What is fashion calendar? How do seasons work? What is and when fashion week ends? Does it still make sense in 2023? Will it make sense next year and in the future? What year is this? Why are we talking about this? Hi, hello, welcome. Hi good people, and welcome back to my little fashion corner. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me and I appreciate that a lot, so thank you. I understand. Either you do not care, or you already know, or you are not here for a lecture, which is fair. How unfortunate, because I'm gonna tell you anyway. So in fashion, or in general, in the metric system, humanity, we observe for fashion. We observe 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. In fashion, this translates to 2 mains and a bunch of backup dancers. Let's put these on the calendar and we'll dissect them as we go. Also, please keep in mind that this system was created, by the Northern Hemisphere occupants and back when, so things are changing, ish. So spring summer is running from January to June, and yes, it is pretty early to start selling clothes for warm weather in January. Autumn winter runs from July to December, and yes, July is pretty early start to selling clothes for cold weather, but hey, here we are. Before a new collection is introduced to the stores, there's a clearance going on. Not all brands do them. Some are just private, invitation only. Some are very open and online, so it's very much fun time to score a golden ticket. But producing 2 or 4 seasons is just not enough, apparently. Capitalism. To pre-collections. Those are just, an opportunity to sell more. Surprisingly, fashion houses earn more, typically earn more from their pre-collections since they are in the shops for the majority of the year. And in my humble opinion, these collections used to be more wearable, but now they are just an opportunity to sell like appeal on the limited edition of things side. Like, oh, look how fabulous, it's our Egyptian resort collection. Have a look at everything that is probably not wearable, but we want you to buy it so that you can brag about it. And I kind of love that. The name resort arose because the wealthiest fashion house clientele would purchase their designs for and on their winter vacations to warmer countries. You hear the term cruise, which is also a historical reference or sense of meaning. Travels going on cruising, as it was hugely popular. Again, it's just a fashion jargon for pre-collections after fall-winter clothes have gone on sale, but before spring-summer clothes have been delivered to the stores. I hope that's clear. Pre-fall is available before autumn-winter collection hits the boutiques. Another staple in the seasons is Lunar New Year collection. That's January, February, maybe a little bit of December. In my opinion, exists just to please the Asian clientele who is very much known to spend a good amount of money on designer fashion. However, it's nice to see some culture again. But again, capitalism, so it's just cultural appropriation. So, 'tis the seasons. Now what is fast fashion on about? What I just talked about is fast fashion excluding, because they are restocking on, I'm gonna say, weekly basis in order to sell as much as possible. And yes, business, capitalism, trying to make money, but that is when ethics entered the chat for many people. I don't want to discuss fast fashion too much unless you want me to, in which case, do let me know. Just imagine what Zara, Shein, ASOS, Boohoo are doing. Zara reportedly drops a new collection every 2 weeks, which is 24 collections per year. And fast fashion brands are known to make a garment of somewhat poor quality for week 1, either sell it out and then make more of same or different, or grab that unsold stock, retouch it and re-enter into the market as the same but different garment to be sold on week 2. Rinse and repeat cycle. This is usually not the case for luxury designer fashion when you talk about the 2 main seasons. It might be different when it comes to shoes because those might be restocked on multiple occasions, but I'm not sure. But in general, they do produce a certain number of ready-to-wear, and when it's sold out, it's sold out. That's 90% of the time. I'm sure there are exceptions. So how about fashion shows? So this might get a little bit confusing, and I get it. Bear in mind, this is again historically said before, well, modern world, internet, and everything. So things are changing ish. Designers present their spring-summer collections in September and they are marketed in January. Autumn-winter drops 6 months later and those are sold from resorts. Resort is available October through December and that will make pre-fall available from April through May. And we know, or now we know, that showing the collection doesn't mean that it's available in the shops or boutiques. Unless you're Burberry, because they actually are doing quite the cool thing of what we're presenting during the fashion week. It's actually in the boutiques. But I digress. You'd have to wait, which gives you some time to get organized and maybe save up a little bit of extra money. Contact your sales associate or sales advisor to assure they'd be on the lookout for that thing or the things that you actually want. Mostly / historically, buyers needed time to decide what collections to pick up for the department stores, and fashion editors also needed time to brainstorm and decide what is going to be trendy in the upcoming season. It kind of makes sense, although it does not. Spring-summer collections are presented during Fashion Week in September for the following summer. Autumn-winter collections are shown in January, men's and haute couture, and February, women's for next winter. I'll talk about the Fashion Week just in a moment, and here's just the schedule of what February has in stock for us. Now, because pre-fall resort and capsules do not have their fashion weeks, labels used to shoot them separately and send those to buyers and press. Now we have the internet. Great. So we can watch the show, we can see what's going on, and we can also see the lookbooks and looks electronically. Usually they're available on the designer's website. And as mentioned, with every new collection arriving to the boutiques, there are sales in January and June, which makes us super happy. Definitely on the lookout for a couple of things. But again, not all designers do them. Some are just private, some are just non-existent. It's a lot. I get that. All right, Fashion Week. Everyone's favorite weeks / months. I know, hyperbole. It is a week, sometimes 10 days of shows with a long tradition. That is, it's just a time for, fashion designers and fashion labels and fashion houses to present their latest collections, for buyers and retailers to make decisions about what to stock up on. And, with modern ages, as we get electronic access to almost everything almost instantly, to sort of prep for the next season and see what's going on and what is trendy, etc. Fashion Week takes place over a month called Fashion Month. How original. New York, Milan, London and Paris respectively. However, other cities also hold their own fashion weeks that are usually smaller, either focus on local designers. For example, Copenhagen, that one is actually quite popular. There are 3 kinds of fashion weeks. Haute couture, only hosted in Paris. We'll have a special video on haute couture, so we're not going to be talking about it right now. It does take place twice a week, once in January for the following spring-summer season, and the second time in June and July for the following autumn-winter. Menswear, fall-winter collections presented in January, we've just been through it, and the spring-summer collections are presented in June. Ready-to-wear, February for the fall-winter season that follows, and September for the spring-summer season of the following year. The latest city in Fashion Week calendar is always Paris, which is arguably the most extravagant and grandiose. In the meantime, people are just sort of speculating about the digitalization of Fashion Weeks, going through COVID, with everything being accessible almost instantly, having customers everywhere, and really trying to appeal to as big of an audience as possible. People are just really trying to figure out what the new schedule is going to look like. So far, we're sticking to that old one. As mentioned, we've got Autumn-Winter 2023 Fashion Week coming up. I personally am always excited to see the work of Alexander McQueen, Rick Owens, Bottega Veneta, Prada, Comme des Garçons, not so much Chanel Audion, but that's for another time. And when it comes to brands like Dolce, Marchesa, or Alexander Wang, just make better choices, people. So I was talking about resorts. What are resorts on about in 2023? Now, it's been a couple of years now, and I'm sort of in a love-hate relationship with it. Historically, the name resort was for the wealthiest of the clientele, jet-setting lifestyle, and all those things that are accompanying that lifestyle. As in, you live in the UK, it rains all the time. You go to Miami, same bars a couple of times a year. You need to be appropriately dressed because no one needs a tweed or a trench coat over there. We can probably agree on labeling it not necessary in modern era. So fashion designers actually go ahead and label it differently. They call it cruises and capsules, and just the sheer number of shows is absolutely ridiculous, and it's just fast fashion for rich people. But I get that I am not the target audience, as I do not do trends, and neither am I spending that kind of money. So when it comes to the actual shows, I feel like it's just a really, really expensive PR stunt, and an opportunity to promote the brand. It might serve a purpose in the past, but why? What now? What do we get from it? We're there to see the clothing, and it's sort of leaning away from the clothing that it's just a show. And I feel like designers are taking this as an opportunity to sort of promote statement pieces that would normally just not get sold, but don't classify as haute couture. From a business perspective, these events are usually invitation only for their dedicated customers, historically very much so, and press to sort of spread the word. But with everything shifting, you've got brands inviting influencers, and that's not very, like, the rich clientele is not very happy about that. It can be misleading to many. Do you really like the clothes, or are you super happy with it because you went on a paid for trip? And then there's the argument of just because you have a great following does not mean that we can expect an honest opinion or honest review of the clothes or any sort of educated opinion. And I understand that you are setting the trend as an influencer, or partly, but those people could be just seen wearing the clothes. It's about the clothes. It's not for us. It's not about the show. Also, these shows and the production is sort of like being blown out of proportions. The cost of the press attending the event, travels, accommodation. That was an event in Cuba. That was Chanel, I think. So fly everyone there, host everyone, accommodation, food, really take good care of them, dress them for that event. And I do appreciate a good show. I love a good show. I love Alexander McQueen's OG shows and Marc Jacobs' shows. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense. I know I haven't really talked about haute couture fashion week, but I feel like there's a lot of information, so there will be a dedicated video at some point for that, so stay tuned for that. Why am I talking about it? It's sort of like setting scene for the future as to what I want to talk about on my channel. And unless you're a person who's very public and buys into the seasonability and the trends of things, in modern days you don't really have to, or you don't really have the need for seasonal clothing. The global warming aside, travel has become easier, commuting is simpler, cars are wildly popular, remote work is a thing. So all these things are really challenging for the world of fashion, and then bring the global warming on board, and you can actually own something that is velvet or suede or tweed and wear it in the UK, and it won't go to waste because there are ways how to go about it. And we have seen designers moving away from those trends in favor to sort of put out timeless pieces on the runway, but also make sure that those collections are more seasonless and can attract a wider audience. I mentioned Burberry earlier, and in 2016 Burberry started a see now, buy now approach, which means the pieces shown on the runway I put up for sale right away. Some brands follow this trend, and Michael Kors, not a fan, Michael Kors went right ahead and caught up to call himself a visionary in 2021, saying that MK brands will be moving away from traditional seasons, and great, good job, everyone is applauding. So wrapping up, I reckon that this was also a validation class for myself, to sort of make myself feel better for not buying into trends. And I don't really love trends. Like, I still have things I bought 10, 15 years ago and I still wear them, and I'm sort of waiting for them to fall apart. This is a perfect example. It comes from a capsule, but I don't care. I love it. I keep wearing it. I call it my grumpy face tee. And I would wear it regardless. Like, I don't care that this collection is not trendy anymore. I don't care this collection is now old. And I don't care this collection is not a collectible. I love it, and that's what matters. I hope this helps to set the scene. Like, let me know your thoughts and questions. I feel like that's what all the YouTubers always say. And it's been my absolute pleasure to sit here and hope I don't look too pale and the trains are not too loud. And just a decent amount. And subscribe, like, tell everyone you know, all the things that you're meant to do and I am meant to say. But honestly, that would help me out a ton and I would absolutely appreciate it. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!